What's up, guys? Feed you information here. So the U.S. stocks have hit their new record highs today, and with that being said, I have my 3 cheap stocks. Now this is like my 3rd time trying to do this video, just because it's so much talking and it takes so long that I always mess up somewhere in the video. So let's see if I can run through it this time. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let's do this. Apple Hospitality REIT. So we have a trailing P of 18.33. For the sake of this video, I'm going to try not to super explain, because that's when I start just messing up and stuttering. So let's just try to run through it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. I will answer them in the comment section. So we have a price to earnings trailing of 18.33, a forward price to earnings of 18.68, price to book ratio of 1.08, price to sales of 2.9, a debt over equity of 0.41. So all undervalued down the list. Profit margin 16.22%, operating margin 20.53%, not bad. Return on assets, obviously you want it to be below 5%, or sorry, 5% or above. So that one you would pretty much put an X. It's not where you want it to be, but it's not way off, so it's not horrible. Return on equity, we have 5.91%. 15 to 20% is where you would want that one. I'm going to explain these two just because I haven't explained them in a lot of videos, but this is a company that mainly just pays you dividends, and it's a steady, just hold company where you can grow your equity stake by just reinvesting the dividends. Revenue, you have 1.3 billion. Year-over-year growth, you have 2.6%. Sorry, like I said, it's a very slow growth company. Side notes, it's a monthly dividend, as I said, 10 cents per share. Pros, you have an immortal niche because it has Hilton and Marriott hotels, and basically it just continues to buy more, pays you the dividends, reinvests its money, gets more hotels. It just never stops. Payout dividends, buy more hotels, very reliable, hasn't missed a payout since IPO, which is over 36 straight payouts. Every month they're paying a dividend, guys. Cons, it does have its lack of growth, so it could catch up to them. Against competition, eventually they could end up losing because, say, they're not growing, another competitor is growing, they're buying out everything, they're getting better customer ratings. It's something I have to add in, but to me it's not highly likely whatsoever. Becoming closer to overvalued, which, well, once again, it's just something I should throw in there because it's technically of value for all 3 of these stocks. Probably better options if someone didn't mind more risk. If you wanted a company with more growth or something, or say you just wanted a more powerful niche, better products, obviously you could find a different one, but this is a very you know what you're going to get kind of stock. Number 2, you have AT&T or Verizon. Price over earnings for AT&T of 11.27, forward of 8.82. Price to book ratio is 1.27, price to sales is 1.37, and debt over equity is 0.92. So the price to earnings, price to book, price to sales are all undervalued, but that debt over equity, you want it to be a 0.5 or below. That is a 0.92, meaning that the debt is almost the size of the equity. It's at 92% as much, so that's pretty high. Profit margin now, 11.34%. Operating margin, 18.52%, or 18.52%, you could basically say. Return on assets, we have 4.05%. Return on equity, 11.88%. And then, of course, we have the revenue at 170.8 billion. Year-over-year growth, only 6.4%. And going back up the list now, we have price to earnings for Verizon of 15.2, forward of 11.93, so they are both going down. Price to book ratio of 4.44, almost at the 5, but below it. Price to sales is 1.8, debt over equity is 2.08. So PE all the way to the PS is good, but like AT&T, their debt is pretty large. It's twice as big as AT&T's, but even still, they're both pretty large. Next up, for Verizon, we have a profit margin of 11.87%, an operating margin of 26.9%, a return on assets of 8.43%, and a return on equity of 32.27%, which is really freaking good, guys. I do like Verizon more than AT&T if you had to ask me that question. Revenue, 130.86 billion, year-over-year growth of 3.8%. Moving on, side notes, AT&T just had HBO Now, which had 17.4 million viewers on final season premiere of Game of Thrones, a very popular show. I have a lot of friends that like it. I'm not one of them, but I don't really get into shows like that unless it's Star Wars or something. More and more cities are getting 5G from AT&T and Verizon, so those were some side notes. Some pros, we have great dividends. AT&T has a 7% and Verizon has a 4.2% dividend. Powerful niche because obviously you always need those phone services. Great valuations, price to earnings, price to book ratio, and price to sales. AT&T did buy Time Warner. AT&T has streaming with their HBO Now. Verizon has 5G contracts with Microsoft and Google. Verizon 6 months free Apple Music when you join their phone service. So that's something that's definitely going to help their conversion rate. Verizon will directly sell YouTube TV to Fios customers, so that's how they're getting that 5G to work out. Verizon and Microsoft working on a simpler way to deliver high-quality content for broadcasters, content owners, and streaming services. So I would say Verizon is more aggressive than AT&T as well with like these partnerships and stuff. They're partnered with Google and Microsoft, two of the biggest companies on the planet. Cons, we have likely but not certain sustainability of these niches. We don't know that the phone services for handheld phones are going to last forever, but as far as we know right now, they're pretty powerful niches. Large amount of debt for both companies that could destroy them. Verizon's and AT&T's 5G aggression may not pay off. That's just, I'm just saying, I have to include it. 5G is just hype right now, and that is just true. I'm sorry, but it is. I truly believe in the growth, but I don't know if it's possible yet. AT&T sold Hulu stake, a lot of streaming competition. Those are just two problems that I have with AT&T. Why would you sell the Hulu stake when you could still have that part of it that you could somehow push for more streaming on top of your HBO Now? And then there's already a lot of streaming competition anyway, so why would you give more stake towards Disney when they already have so much? Anyways, Sony, we have the price to earnings of 10.15. Forward price to earnings of 12.64, undervalued. Price to book ratio of 2.01, undervalued. It said that the price to sales was non-applicable, so I don't know what to say about that one. Debt over equity is 0.31, undervalued. Profit margin 9.57%, and operating margin is actually 0%, which does suck, but that might explain. I don't want to sound stupid and say that might explain why it's the price to sales has nothing there either, but if I am right, someone tell me you're right in the comment section. I apologize, don't listen to me if I'm wrong. Return on assets 2.27%, so that is definitely not as high as you want it to be, but the return on equity at 21.02%. That's why investors do love this company. It's a very reliable company over the long run. That for people that have been, saying it the last 15 years or so. The revenue is at $77.4 billion. Year-over-year growth is at 0% because right now they were basically cutting a lot of things and just revamping a lot of their company to go ahead and generate more sales and stuff. They're kind of figuring things out. Their quarter four guidance is $18.3 billion. EPS 0.19, which is actually down from past quarters. Like I said, they're not doing great right now, but you got to look forward if you want to be in a company like this. Side notes, we have released info of PlayStation 5, which they have an AMD chip in it, which is a generation Ryzen capable of 8K resolution and ray tracing. Also backwards compatible with PlayStation 4. The S-Ride is something else that they have, which is taxi hailing service, 10,000 taxis with 5 different companies over in Japan. Now over there it's illegal to use civilian cars for ride sharing. So Lyft and Uber aren't making big results in Japan. They're not really having a lot of conversion sales. Sony's biggest rival is actually perfect enough Japan Taxi. How convenient, with 50,000 taxi vehicles chasing after anime sector in China as well is something that Sony's doing. I think they're really starting to notice how popular anime is and how it's just taking over. So 2017 into 2018, the annual gross for anime actually grew 14% in China, and titles like Dragon Ball and Pokemon are expected to continue to skyrocket in 2019. Sony actually poached Yoshi from Nintendo, guys, for $400 million on a 10-year contract, and the CEO was pretty much saying, we're really going to use this guy, we're going to give him freedom, and we're going to try to get him to work with Kratos from God of War. So that would be something very weird. I don't know how they would do that, a cartoon with Kratos, the badass god killer, but I'm excited to see that. I think people that played potential revenue off of Nintendo players is what I put. I see people definitely buying it and playing it just because, hey, I was a Nintendo player. Well, what do you guys got? So anyways, pros, we have some great valuations. Powerful niche gaming, of course. Veteran company with a lot of happy investors. They have the rights to Spider-Man. Venom will continue to generate sales because they're going to continue to put out movies of Venom. 8 segments of revenue, guys, so they are pretty diversified, with only 27% of their revenue coming from the gaming division. And I do want to go ahead and just state these other categories. Some of them I did already write, but this guy did a good job of laying them out in his article on the Motley Fool. So come on, load for me. 1 second, guys, sorry for the wait. So we have, these include the company's game and network services, music, pictures, home entertainment and sound, imaging products and solutions, mobile communications, semiconductors, financial services, and a catch-all category called all other. So they do have 8 different categories, guys. And that's just something that only 27% of their revenue that they're expecting, so 4.9 billion, about 5 billion is actually going to be from gaming. So they do have other fields, obviously, where they're making money, including the movies like with Venom. The cons are the dying niche of console gaming that could catch up to them a lot faster than I'm expecting. Google entering the gaming industry with Google Stadia, or maybe it's Stadia, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but that is actually kind of scary. Everything Google touches turns to gold, so I think Google's going to mess up a lot of people, including Microsoft, in this division, but we'll go ahead and see. Also, competition, of course, from Microsoft. They're announcing their new Xbox at E3, and Nintendo making revisions to their Nintendo Switch. And just in general, something that could be a con is too much diversification. As I said, 8 different categories. Maybe if they're focusing too much on too many different things, they can't focus on one powerful niche at a time and develop their company to where they need it to be at. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, throw me a like. Make sure to subscribe. What do you guys think? Leave me a lot of knowledge in the comment sections of what you guys think. I love to read these comments that you guys leave. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feed You Information, out.